Studio 2A right now. Gregory Sweet will sit down with Butch Hancock and find out what he's been up to and about his show tonight at Congress. But first, we'll get a song. Take it away, Butch.
Double cross your heart, poke a stick in your eye. You're gonna have to live until the day you die, though the road be rocking and your feet be bruised. Nobody needs a road map for the blues. Eat your heart out, honey, eat your tongue out too. Nobody got it any better than anybody but you. But who cares anyhow, and anyhow, who is who? Nobody needs a road map for the blues. Stick a poor man, baby, in a mansion fine. He gonna drown himself in the women and wine. I put a millionaire in a poor man's shoes. Neither one of them will ever need a road map for the blues. Little pal of mine, she can pantomime scenes from the trail of the lonesome pine. She's road weary, she's paid her dues. She don't need no stinking road map for the blues. Well, it's dark as a dungeon down in the mine. It's just a hole in the ground, but it's easy to find. I found one, babe, you can find one too. No, nobody needs a road map for the blues. From the good and the bad to the jive and the jazz and the rigmarole and the razzmatazz is a cold hard fact of life you can use. Nobody needs a road map for the blues. No, nobody needs a road map for the blues.
I'm Gregory Sweet, and we're setting live in Studio 2A here at KXCI with legendary Texas troubadour Butch Hancock. Butch, thank you so much for coming by to see us today.
Man, my pleasure. I mean, we're live so far.
Indeed, we are. And let's be sure and mention that there is a great show that's going to be at Club Congress tonight with you as the headliner, and doors open at 7 o'clock with music starting at 7:30.
You betcha. I'm looking forward to that. I've always loved the Congress Hotel. It's been one of those bizarre places on the planet, and just
you and John Dillinger both got to stay.
Right. Well, it's a great historical landmark for sure.
That's great. Well, we want to talk a little bit about what you're doing. Right now you're on a solo tour, but most people will probably know that you're one of the founding members of the legendary Flatlanders, which includes Joe Ely and Jimmy Dale Gilmore.
Right.
And,
actually, I'm going to team up with them about a week and a half from now up in San Francisco at the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival.
Oh, that's great.
On October the 5th. That'll be a Saturday night or afternoon, or whatever. There's like, I don't know, 600, 700,000 people show up for that gig. Holy mackerel. And they all, it's like bats in a cave. They all find their way to the right spot or somehow. I don't know how it happens, but
That's great.
It's outrageous.
Oh, that's great. I speaking of the Flatlanders, I wanted to mention too the last release that you three had in 2012, which was actually an amazing release. Can you tell us a little bit about the Odessa tapes and from 1972 and how it took so long to get that?
Oh,
released?
that was outrageous. We had done a demo tape before we went to Nashville back in 1972, and we didn't know Nashville from Knoxville hardly. And it was at that part, the Nashville part was a long story, but meanwhile that demo tape kind of disappeared. We had heard a bad version of it before we sent it off, and we thought, oh well, there goes our careers, and we just kind of forgot about that. But it turns out that the bass player was kind of one of our co-managers, and he had held on to that tape for like 35 years. He had it in the very same spot in his closet in Lubbock, Texas, for 35 years. Didn't touch it. Wow. And he called up Lloyd Maines one time. He had some health problems and was wanting to get rid of some things and sell some things. And we wound up buying it from him. It was the most immaculate sound. It was actually done on a state-of-the-art studio at that time down in Odessa, Texas. That's where we got the name the Odessa Tapes. Tommy Alverson that had written that song or produced that song that in the year 2525.
Yeah.
He made like millions on that, and he put in absolutely a fantastic state-of-the-art studio, and it was of course on a 3-track tape recorder, which was what they used back then.
Right.
Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra, and lots of folks recorded on that. On those kinds of
the sound
machines
is amazing
for about 2 or 3 years, and it was just pristine.
Yeah.
And the funny story is that I think Joe took the tape out to L.A. somewhere, and he finally tracked down a 3-track tape recorder out there, and of course the engineers were looking at it under a microscope before they tried to play it on their $high-dollar ancient machines, and the guy says, "Mr. Ely, where in the world have you had this stored?" And Joe was, "Oh no, it's no good. Oh no." And the guy said, "I have never seen a tape from those years that's in as good a shape as this."
It's incredible.
He said, and so we suspect, and when Joe told him, "Well, it's been in a closet in Lubbock on a shelf," and I imagine the real estate in Lubbock went up, among engineers and producers out in L.A. for the next 6 months or so. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
What a great place to store.
Store tape.
Tapes.
Yeah, that turned out to be amazing. Absolutely. How about doing another song for us?
You betcha. Let's see. Let me do. I'm going to have a new album out sometime in my lifetime here. I'm sitting on it, it's marinating, and I'll be doing a Kickstarter before long. So you guys get ready. But it'll be called 7 Cities of Gold, and this is a song from it called "Dangling Diamond."
Perfect.
I thought I had a fix on religion until I found this trail of truth, hanging like a dangling diamond down deep in my heart. I could hear Mama holler from the kitchen, "Get up and wash your face and go to school. You might make something of yourself someday if you ever find a place to start." But I was born on the side of a mountain that has no bottom and it has no top. I have no way to think about starting, and I have nowhere to stop. I was born in the middle of a rolling river, and I came from the clouds beyond. I'm headed for the ocean, and I know I'm never gonna be anywhere but gone. Time flies by beyond the blue. Where am I? Where are you? I came home bloody from a schoolyard fight, and I didn't even know who with. It's true, I had not a clue what the fight was for. What I remember it was my first fight, and it was her fourth or fifth. In the jaws of the laws of cause and effect, you gotta give it all you got, and then some more. I was born in the middle of an endless battle. All days these fights erupt. Why, oh why, when the enemy's gone, must you go and make another one up? I was born in the middle of a no man's land, pumping blood and breathing air, dreaming my name was flying high, and thinking I was going somewhere. Birth and death, old age and youth. What is time? What is truth? From our very own hearts we keep our distance, and we send somebody to fight. We pay some others to pass some laws, like they can tell wrong from right. When you shore one up and undermine another, it'll all come tumbling down. It'll even do the same when you leave it alone. The mind is at the heart of the battleground. I was born in the heart of a wilderness, full of travelers looking for light. Some never listen and some stop looking when the first star shines at night. I was born in the center of a circle of friends, too big to be too small, surrounded by a low horizon, nothing more, nothing less than a prison wall. Time flies by beyond the blue. Who am I? Who are you? I just thought I had a fix on religion, till I found this trail of truth, hanging like a dangling diamond down deep in my heart.
Beautiful. I hope you will remember to send one to KXCI when that new CD comes out.
Oh, you betcha, man.
Can't wait to get my hands on it. You're known for having a great sense of humor, as many Texans are. I know you're.
What's so funny about that?
Yeah, now your song was beautiful, but I like the mention of religion in it. I've got to ask you about this quote, because I'm dying to know if you did say this. Life in Lubbock, Texas, taught me two things. One is that God loves you and you're going to burn in hell. The other is that sex is the most awful, filthy thing on earth, and you should save it for someone you love. Is that attributed to you?
It has been attributed to me. Somebody knows the right story on that, where that came from, and I don't. I always get it wrong. But somehow it got quoted as me being the source of it. But everybody that I've talked to said, "Yeah, same thing happened to me." So maybe it's common knowledge. I don't know.
Yeah, urban legend, maybe. Huh?
Yeah,
that's great. I wanted to ask you about a singer-songwriter from Texas who's deceased now, but that have you ever did any work with? B.W. Stevenson.
I had met him back at early '70s, and I didn't know him well, but we played at a lot of the same gigs. And
That's
things.
what I figured.
And he was awesome. Did some really great stuff.
Last time I saw him was shortly before his death in '89. He was at a place that's no longer in existence in Austin. It was called Snavely's. It was down on 6th Street. Yeah, that was quite a place.
Yeah, there have been several of those places in Austin.
Come and go, don't they? That's for sure.
We used to walk down 6th Street and kind of take bets on how long the latest club was going to stay open.
Stay in business, right? I also want to ask you about something that you did in 1990 and repeated this year. Was a series you called No Two Alike Tapes. and that was done at No Two Alike Tape of the Month Club, and where you taped 140 songs in a row in 6 nights at the Cactus Club in Austin in 1990, and then basically reprised that again this year.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually been a couple of years.
Oh, has it been that? Okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3 summers ago, and I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea at the time, But
didn't repeat one song too. I understand.
It was really fun because I think on that first round I had about 27 different musicians come in and play with me over the week or 6 days, and it was just like a wonderful party every night, picking with old friends and a lot of people I hadn't picked with before, and they came in get in on it. And it was really, really great. And there's a great little story about Townes Van Zandt.
I'd love to hear
I've got
that.
I've got these 3 songs that are trilogies. I was telling you about a 30-minute long song a few minutes ago, but
Encore.
the first, so it's kind of like a talking blues kind of thing about a couple of guys that are always getting into trouble and then barely getting out. And it's called Split and Slide, these guys. And so I wrote the first one, and then about 2, 3, 4 years later, I wrote the second one. And it started getting to be like 10 or 11 minutes long. And I was going, how am I going to end this song? I started borrowing characters. Pancho and Lefty have to show up in there, and Mr. Bud and Mr. Gold. And then some of my characters from other songs of mine showed up. And it was just getting to be ridiculous, a huge crowd in one song, and they all wanted their stories told. And I finally figured out, man, I'll just kill them all off at the end. It's my song; I can do what I want to with it. And so I did that, and then, but I thought, well, I breathed a sigh of relief for a few days, and then I woke up one morning just in a cold sweat because I was having visions of Split and Slide number 3. And the reason I bring all this up is because on the reprisal, or the whatever you want to call it, the echo that happened 20 years, 30, however many, how many years?
23
20,
years.
21
20
or 2 or
years,
3. So later, we played the third one.
Yeah.
In fact, we did one whole night of all the Split and Slide songs and all the songs that, like Pancho and Lefty. I borrowed a few songs from Townes to fill that night up. And that night, the third one clocked in at 36 minutes. And it was, I expected totally that everybody in the room would be gone by the time I finished the song, but they
stuck around.
They stood, they were gluttons for punishment. But anyway, what I figured out was that I was writing a whole new genre of music, and I decided to call it hard listening. And I think it's going to catch on. I think it's going to sweep the nation. I want to see charts, Billboard charts, the hard listening charts
God,
for the week. Yeah. Butch Hancock has the top 3 slots in hard listening for number 1, 2, and 3 of the week.
We got to be sure and mention again too that you got a show at Club Congress tonight. Doors open at 7:00, and no opening act tonight. So Butch Hancock will be headlining at 7:30. The music starts. So be sure and go over. You want to hear some beautiful music and be around a really entertaining, funny guy, Butch Hancock tonight. One of the Flatlanders. Why don't we go out with one more song?
Okay, this is not Split and Slide number 3, so don't worry.
Okay, sounds good. Kathy will be in here grabbing me by the neck in a minute.
Yeah. This is a little tune I wrote years ago, actually back during the early Flatlander days in Lubbock. And woke up one morning, and it was a rare foggy day in Lubbock. And but the sun was kind of shining through the fog into our little dining room, which was more like the house we lived in was like, we only had about 3 pieces of furniture, if you could call it furniture. We had an old Barca lounger chair that didn't work, but it you could set things on it pretty well. And we had a piano and a piano bench, and in this dining room table that it was like a hardcore wooden door, and it was balanced on 2 concrete blocks, and we'd spill a lot of spaghetti and vino and whatever we would sit on that table. But one one weekend we had a friend of ours come over for spaghetti at. He had been going to Texas Tech out there and was a major in the civil engineering department, and he kind of sat down. We had to sit on the floor, for and he kind of looked at the table and kind of shook it a little bit, and we went ahead and ate. And near the end of the meal, he says, "Hey, you guys, if you just put one more, concrete block under there, you could have it triangulated, and it wouldn't tip over like that so much, And we looked at each other like, oh, wow, it had not occurred to us that, triangulation. We had vaguely heard of it, but anyway, so we saved up for about 4 or 5 days and got enough $1.45 or $1.15, whatever it was, to buy a new concrete block and brought it back, and it worked. It worked. So we quit spilling spaghetti. But anyway, that was the very table at which I wrote this song. If you were a bluebird, you'd be a sad one, and I'd give you a true word, but you already had one. If you were a bluebird, you'd be crying, you'd be flying home. If you were a raindrop, you'd shine like a rainbow. And if you were a train stop, that conductor would sing low. If you were a raindrop, you'd be falling, you'd be calling home. If you were a hotel, you'd be a grand one. But if you hit a slow spell, do you think you could stand one? If you were a hotel, I'd lean on your doorbell, I'd call you my home. And if I was a highway, I'd stretch alongside you. I'd help you pass by ways that have dissatisfied you. If I was a highway, I'd be stretching, I'd be fetching you home. Yeah, if you were a bluebird, you'd be a sad one. I'd give you a true word, but you already had one. If you were a bluebird, you'd be crying, you'd be flying home.
Thank you so much.